Welcome to Chasing Curiosity TV. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. Breaking news: tensions have erupted into a full-scale naval standoff between the United States and China. The flashpoint, the contested waters of the South China Sea, a region already simmering with disputes over territory and influence. Now, warships from both nations are converging, their steel hulls slicing through the waves, each maneuver calculated and deliberate. The world watches as the balance of power teeters on a knife's edge. For the sailors aboard the USS Princeton, the breaking news wasn't just a headline, it was the reality they were living, the tension palpable in every hurried step and whispered command. In the ship's Combat Information Center, radar screens glowed with the movement of ships, each blip representing a potential threat or ally. The situation was evolving by the second, and every sailor knew that a single miscalculation could have dire consequences. The air was thick with a quiet, focused energy. Conversations were hushed, every word measured. The hum of electronics and the soft clatter of keyboards underscored the gravity of the moment. Each sailor was locked into their role, eyes darting between monitors, hands poised over controls. The screens displayed a complex dance of electronic symbols, friend, foe, and unknown, each demanding instant analysis and response. Outside, the South China Sea was deceptively calm. The night air was cool, the waves gentle, but beneath the surface, tension rippled like an undercurrent, unseen but ever present. Inside the nerve center of the ship, the digital battlefield was already alive. Tactical displays flickered with data, electronic warfare officers scanning for the slightest anomaly, a signal, a transmission, a radar ping that could spell danger. Suddenly, a surface contact appeared on the radar, a vessel with no clear identification, closing the distance with steady intent. The room tensed as the unknown was designated and tracked. Its vector was unmistakable, a direct line toward the USS Ronald Reagan, the pride of the carrier strike group. The implications were immediate and serious. The watch officer felt a familiar knot of adrenaline tighten in her stomach. She'd trained for moments like this, but training could never fully prepare anyone for the real thing. This was not a drill. The alarms flashing red and the urgent voices over the intercom made that clear. Every sailor braced for what might come next. On the bridge, Captain Miller stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his gaze fixed on the horizon. Years of experience told him that the next few minutes could define the fate of his ship and crew. Reports from the Combat Information Center came through his earpiece in crisp, professional tones. Every update was weighed, every decision critical. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, the silhouettes of warships stood ready. The opening moves of this confrontation were underway, and the world held its breath. The first chapter of this high-stakes standoff was just beginning. The Chinese destroyer, now identified as the Hefei, sliced through the waves with undeniable purpose. Its sleek, angular hull cut a sharp silhouette against the endless blue, every movement radiating confidence and intent. The ship's engines hummed with power, propelling it forward as if it were on a mission that could not be delayed or denied. This was no ordinary vessel. The Hefei was a modern and highly capable warship, bristling with the latest in naval technology. It stood as a symbol of China's rapidly expanding naval ambitions, a floating testament to the nation's determination to project power far beyond its shores. The destroyer's presence in these contested waters was a clear message. China was ready to assert itself, and it would not be ignored. Suddenly, the destroyer's fire control radar locked onto the American ships, its dish rotating with mechanical precision. This was not a routine scan. The act of painting a target with fire control radar is universally recognized as a hostile gesture, a clear and aggressive signal that the Hefei was prepared to escalate the situation if necessary. This was a deliberate provocation, a digital shot across the bow. In the world of modern naval warfare, such actions are the equivalent of cocking a loaded weapon in plain sight. The message was unmistakable. The Chinese destroyer was challenging the American fleet, daring them to respond. The Hefei was not just passing by, it was executing a calculated maneuver designed to disrupt the carrier strike group's formation. With each turn and adjustment, it sought to force the American ships to react, testing their resolve and their readiness. The tension in the air was palpable, as both sides measured each other's intentions. Yet, aboard the American vessels, the sailors remained calm and professional. Trained for exactly this kind of scenario, they moved with practiced efficiency, their discipline unshaken by the rising stakes. Every crew member knew their role, and every action was executed with precision. The crew quickly logged the radar lock, cross-referenced the destroyer's electronic signature, and updated the tactical plot. Information flowed seamlessly from station to station, ensuring that every officer had a clear picture of the unfolding situation. The bridge was a hive of quiet activity, each decision weighed carefully. Radio calls were sent to the Hefei, demanding an explanation for its aggressive actions. The responses, when they came, were terse and defiant. The Chinese crew insisted that the American ships were trespassing in Chinese waters, refusing to back down or de-escalate. The silence between transmissions was heavy with unspoken threats. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, the shadow of the dragon grew longer across the waves, but the American fleet, arrayed in a formidable defensive formation, was prepared to stand its ground. Both sides knew that a single misstep could ignite a wider conflict, but for now, the standoff held, each navy watching, waiting, and refusing to yield. The USS Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group was not in the South China Sea by accident. Its presence was a fundamental part of America's long-standing commitment to ensuring freedom of navigation. A carrier strike group is a formidable projection of power. The mission of this particular carrier strike group was multifaceted. By sailing through these contested waters, the U.S. Navy reinforces the principle that the high seas belong to everyone. Beyond the symbolic mission, the strike group serves a critical strategic purpose. The presence of a U.S. carrier strike group acts as a deterrent, raising the stakes for any nation contemplating aggressive actions. As the Chinese destroyer Hefei continued its provocative maneuvers, slicing through the waves with calculated intent, the American response began to unfold with practiced precision. Every move by the Hefei was closely monitored, its intentions scrutinized by the vigilant eyes of the U.S. Navy. The tension in the air was palpable, but the American crew relied on their rigorous training to guide their actions. The first and most critical step in any potential confrontation is to gain complete situational awareness. This means not just knowing where your own ships are, but also understanding the position, movement, and possible intentions of every vessel and aircraft in the area. The U.S. Navy's ability to process and interpret this information in real time is a cornerstone of its operational effectiveness. On the deck of the USS Ronald Reagan, the crew sprang into action, preparing the E-2D Hawkeye for immediate launch. This aircraft, a vital asset in the Navy's arsenal, was soon catapulted into the sky, its engines roaring as it climbed above the fleet. The launch of the Hawkeye signaled the beginning of a coordinated effort to dominate the battle space with information. The E-2D Hawkeye, with its distinctive rotating radar dome perched above the fuselage, serves as the airborne nerve center of the fleet. Its advanced sensors can scan hundreds of miles in every direction, detecting threats long before they come into visual range. From its vantage point high above the ocean, the Hawkeye acts as the fleet's eyes and ears, relaying critical information back to the ships below. As soon as it reached its patrol altitude, the Hawkeye's powerful radar systems began to sweep the vast expanse of ocean, building a detailed real-time picture of the entire operational area. Every blip on the radar was analyzed, every movement tracked, as the crew worked to identify friend from foe. This constant vigilance is what allows the strike group to anticipate threats and respond with speed and accuracy. The data collected by the Hawkeye was instantly transmitted to every ship in the strike group through a secure, high-speed network. This seamless flow of information ensured that every commander, from the carrier's bridge to the smallest escort ship, had access to the same tactical picture. In modern naval warfare, information dominance can be as decisive as firepower. As the situation developed, the Hawkeye's sensors began to detect more contacts appearing on the radar screens. Each new contact was quickly assessed, its course and speed plotted, and its potential threat level evaluated. The crew's ability to process this flood of data in real time is a testament to their training and the sophistication of their equipment. Suddenly, two Chinese fighter jets, likely J-15S, were observed taking off from a base on a nearby artificial island. Their rapid ascent and aggressive flight path suggested they were moving to intercept or shadow the American task force. The presence of these advanced fighters added a new layer of complexity to the unfolding situation. American officers in the command center quickly analyzed the incoming data, noting the altitude, speed, and heading of the Chinese jets. These details were crucial for classifying the aircraft as potential adversaries and determining the appropriate response. Every decision was made with care, balancing the need for vigilance with the desire to avoid unnecessary escalation. Despite the increasing complexity of the situation, the atmosphere in the Combat Information Center remained calm and focused. The officers and enlisted personnel worked together seamlessly, each person fulfilling their role with quiet professionalism. Their composure under pressure was a reflection of countless hours of training and experience. The professional calm of the U.S. officers was not born of arrogance, but of deep confidence in their training, their technology, and each other. In moments of uncertainty, it is this unwavering trust and discipline that allows the U.S. Navy to operate effectively, even in the face of rapidly evolving threats. The standoff was a showcase of modern naval power, but the capabilities of the two sides were not equal. The Chinese destroyer Hefei was a formidable ship, equipped with advanced phased-array radars. However, possessing the hardware is only one part of the equation. The U.S. Navy's advantage lies in the integration and networking of its systems. The Aegis combat system, aboard cruisers like the Princeton, is the gold standard. China's systems, while improving, still lack this level of sophisticated integration and networking. The US Navy's Top Gun school is legendary for a reason. It forges the most skilled and tactically proficient aviators in the world. Ultimately, the biggest difference was not in the missiles or the radars but in the people and the doctrine. The situation began to escalate methodically. With the Chinese J-15 fighters now airborne, the US Strike Group commander made the next logical move. 2 FA-18 Super Hornets were launched from the deck of the USS Ronald Reagan. Their mission was to intercept the Chinese fighters, not to engage in a dogfight, but to shadow them. The Super Hornets quickly established a position behind and to the side of the J-15S. The message was clear: any hostile move toward the fleet would be met with an immediate response. Just as the aerial situation was being managed, a new threat emerged from below. The strike group's anti-submarine warfare assets detected a faint underwater signature. The classification came back: a Chinese Sheng-class nuclear-powered attack submarine. The detection was not a lucky break, it was the result of a layered, persistent search effort. Throughout the escalating encounter, the US Navy's true superiority was on full display. It was about the unseen advantages: better sensors, seamless communications, and unwavering discipline. The AN Spy-1 radar on the USS Princeton and the E-2D Hawkeye's airborne system created a bubble of awareness. Communication was another key advantage. The American forces operated on a secure, high-bandwidth network known as Link 16. This seamless web of data sharing meant the entire strike group could act as a single, coordinated organism. The discipline of the American personnel was perhaps the most significant advantage of all. This discipline prevented miscalculation and ensured that every response was deliberate and proportional. The American sailors were not just operating machinery, they were practicing a craft honed over generations. This tense standoff was not happening in a vacuum. The South China Sea is more than just a large expanse of ocean. It is a global superhighway for maritime trade. China's aggressive posture is rooted in its 9-line claim. To enforce this claim, China has built and militarized artificial islands. The stakes are incredibly high for America's allies in the region. The presence of the US Navy provides a crucial counterbalance. The mission of the USS Ronald Reagan Strike Group was about defending a principle. The principle that all nations have a right to sail in international waters without fear. The standoff reached its climax with a single decisive move. The Chinese submarine, now being actively tracked by the American ASW helicopter, was in an untenable position. At this critical moment, the American commander played his final card, a powerful demonstration of psychological and tactical dominance. A US Navy Virginia-class nuclear-powered attack submarine surfaced with deliberate, almost theatrical slowness. The message was unambiguous and chilling for the Chinese commanders. The psychological impact was devastating, the retreat was swift. The Chinese J-15 fighters broke off their patrol pattern and headed back to their base. The destroyer Hefei slowed its speed, its aggressive radar emissions ceased. The confrontation was over.